Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. Today we are back with yet another lecture where we are studying the FSR, Financial Stability Report. Okay, and this is the part 3 of the lecture and this is the final part. Let's begin. So, what we are going to learn in this part 3, in the part 1 we have learned about macro financial risk, and in the part 2 we have learned about the financial institutions, and in the part 3 we are going to learn about the regulatory initiative, right? So this is an important part, but everything that is covered in the part 3 you have read it as and when the current affairs appear, right? So these are the initiative of the Reserve Bank of India and other regulator in the last 6 months. So I hope you are following current affairs of ours and maybe some other sources. And if you are following it rigorously, then I think all these things are covered in detail there. So this lecture would not cover the detail of everything. This lecture will highlight only those points that are being highlighted by the FSR. That's it. Nothing more into it, right? Because we have covered it in our current affair material as well. Okay, let's begin with the lecture. So, first thing, so first we are going to see domestic regulatory development. And when it comes to global regulatory development, I do not find any data. So I don't think you will find any question related to it. But yes, when it comes to current affair, you will find if there is some data about the IMF or the World Bank, maybe the GDP numbers, or if they're saying about some central banking regulatory kind of things. So again, that are covered in the current affair material. So FSR has not given much depth into the data of global measures, only they have provided the analytical part. So that is not important. So let's begin with the domestic regulatory development. First is credit related measures. So what are the credit related measures? So the FSR mentions three things: Resolution Framework 2.0, Priority Sector Classification, and ECL GCS. Okay. So I think you have already learned all this in the current affairs material. Still, let me tell you what FSR has highlighted for the Resolution Framework 2.0. So a limited window up to September 30, 2021 was opened by the RBI under Framework 2.0, permitting lending institution to implement resolution plans in respect of their exposure to individual MSME and other small business. So this is important. Aggregate exposure up to 50 crore while classifying the account as standard. So you can get a uh, MCQ which will ask you about the number, right? So the answer to that would be 50 crore. So what was the exposure that resolution framework 2.0 has looked upon? Okay, so a question relating to that can be asked, and the answer would be 50 crore. And the account was classified as standard. So it was not classified other than standard. So maybe SMA 1, SMA 2, or SMA 3 or NPA, right? Then, then let's look up the priority sector classification. So what RBI has made change in the priority sector classification? Priority sector classification was extended to fresh credit by advance by scheduled foreign bank, a specified category of NBFC, MFIs, and other MFIs for their purpose of on lending to individual in order to address the emergency liquid stress faced by the smaller MFI. So what is important here? So the priority sector, the changes were made to include the small finance bank. Sorry, I think I told foreign bank, but no, it's small finance bank. Okay, now ECLGS. The government expanded the scope of emergency credit line guarantee scheme on March 31st, 2021 through introduction of ECLGS 3.2. So there were many ECLGS. So there were 1.0 in 2020, then 2.0, then 3.0, then this is 4.0, right? So what happened in each of them, you should remember for the sake of objective and for the sake of descriptive as well, right? Then this one followed by the ECLGS 4.0 on May May 31st, 2021, which covered the credit needs of hospital for setting it. See, this is important because healthcare was given the importance. Setting up the hospital's oxygen generation plant while expanding the coverage of CLGS 3.0 to include the civil aviation sector and extending the validity of the scheme up to September 30, 2021. Okay. Now, see, FSR is more about data. So we don't have much to understand here, but we have to remember few data that are highlighted by the FSR. Then, bad bank. So what is this? So this is in Union Budget 2020-21. The Government of India announced a proposal for setting up the National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited. Okay, this National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited is popularly known as Bad Bank. Okay, then so this RBI has proposed it. Okay, sorry, Government of India has proposed it, and the RBI is in a process of making this bank into reality. Okay, so the bank. What will this bank do? This bank will take up the stress debt from the bank based on their characteristics. Means there would be some terms and condition, and on the agreed terms and condition, this bank is going to take over that assets. Now, let's move forward to customer protection, and the subcategory is banking ombudsman. Okay, with effect from January 27, 2011. Okay, this is not there. 2021, a comprehensive framework for dealing with the customer grievances was implemented. So why this was brought out? Look, during the moratorium and after the moratorium, the complaints with the RBI was very high. So there were multiple complaints going on. Was going to RBI through its RBI ombudsman, right? So what RBI did? So RBI made some changes that was on effect from January 27, 2021. Enhanced disclosure on consumer complaint, monetary disincentive in the form of recovery of cost of redress of complaint from bank. So RBI is going to recover the cost of the complaint from the bank when maintainable complaints are comparatively high. So if there is complaint regarding a particular bank and if the number is higher than the average, then bank is going to recover the cost. Means the central bank is going to recover the cost from the bank. Intensive review of the grievance redress mechanism and supervisory action against banks that fail to improve their redress mechanism in a town-bound manner. So again, the ombudsman will find that if a bank is not able to resolve all its complaints and the complaints are coming to RBI, then again Reserve Bank is going to take some regulatory or supervisory action against that particular bank. Okay, so this was highlighted in the FSR. Then let's move forward in the payment and settlement system. Now see. The payment and settlement system, in line with the progress advised in the payment and settlement system in India Vision 2019-2021. The Reserve Bank announced in April 21 that entities in the payment space were fully regulated by it. Okay, entities in the payment state. So all the entities that are in the payment space will be regulated by the Reserve Bank. And why this was done? Look, initially the transfer were happening either through NEFT, RTGS, or IMPS. Later on, UPI emerged, right? Again, UPI is a network managed by NPCI, and NPCI is under the regulatory preview of RBI. Fine. But when this UPI came, multiple payment app like Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, okay, and whatnot. So there are multiple apps that came along with this. So now RBI has to control many things, and there were certain entities that were not directly in the control of Reserve Bank. So Reserve Bank on April 2021, what it announced that all the entities, irrespective of who they are, right? If they are in the payment space, they will be regulated by the Reserve Bank. Okay. Now they can be non-bank prepaid payment instruments like PhonePe. PhonePe is a non-bank. Paytm is a bank. Paytm is backed by Paytm Payment Bank. Okay. Airtel Money is being backed by the Airtel Payment Bank. But who is backing the Paytm? Sorry, PhonePe. So there is no bank behind it. So yes, there are certain banks who manages the payment system for them, but there is no bank for PhonePe or the Google Pay. Okay, so they completely rely on the UPI network. So any non-banking prepaid payment instrument is also regulated by the RBI. Then card networks like Visa, Mastercard, Trade Receivable Discounting System (TREDS) platforms operators, white label ATM operators can obtain direct membership in CPS after fulfilling the eligibility criteria and what means all the entities who are in the payment system is being regulated by the Reserve Bank as from April 2021, right? This is also high. Now let us look about the regulatory sandbox. Okay. So before we understand what is there in the FSR, let us understand what regulatory sandbox is. So see, when a financial app is launched in the live environment without proper testing, right? And if it fails in the live environment, it has a wider implication over the economy, right? So regulatory sandbox is a platform or an environment. Okay, so this is a controlled environment by the RBI where everything that is happening in the live environment, the same thing is being replicated. Only difference is there is no real users. Okay, so even if that fails, it will not have a single impact on the live economy, right? So regulatory sandbox has helped many fintech companies test their application before it is finally launched into the economy, right? So what RBI has to say? So this is an innovation from the RBI. So through this regulatory sandbox, RBI is seeking companies or startups to invent, right, to innovate the technology in payment space, in banking space, and in the complete thing that is being regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, right? So see, so RBI is has done some correct. So the first one was done in November 2019. The theme was retail payment. The second one was on December 2020. So this is important for your examination. For last 6 to 7 months of current affairs, this comes. What was it? Cross-border payments, right? Cross-border payment. And the third one is Reserve Bank also selected MSME lending as the third theme for the cohort. So this is supposed to happen. MSME lending, right? Now, let's move further in the lecture. Let us understand what cyber security surveillance is. So, in the recent times, from 2019 till the time the corona came, the entire economy uh, went into work from home mode. So, a enterprise, so big IT companies or banks have robust uh, uh, firewall system in their network. But when their employee work remotely from home, they do not enjoy that kind of firewall network. So chances of cyber breach goes up, right? And the same thing has happened during the lockdown time from the 2020 to till uh, uh, maybe the first quarter of particular this year, right? So here we need to understand that digital payment security was first issued on Feb 2020. That's it. Next, we need to understand that this is a team, Computer Security Incident Response Team for Financial Sector. Okay, this has onboarded 158 financial sector organization in the Cyber Swachhata Kendra to tag to track vulnerable service and malware infection in their respective network. Okay, so 158 financial sectors organization in what Cyber Swachhata Kendra. Okay, now let's move forward in the lecture and let us see what deposit insurance. So who provide deposit insurance? DICGC. Okay, now insured deposit 13 of banks amounted to rupees. This is the amount that is insured, right? As on March ending 2020. 50.9% of the total assets are insured. Okay, 50.9%. Now, out of this, SBC 49.6%, UCB 69.4%. Right? Only this is the thing that you need to remember from this. So this is about data, and this is the most important because certain things has happened like PMC Bank scam in the PMC Bank. So yes, so when such thing happens, the news that affects the most is kind of deposit insurance. Okay, now let's move forward in the lecture. So this is also important that till now during 2020-21 rupees 993 crore of insurance claim has been processed by the DICGC. Let's move forward in the lecture. Let's see about the other development means IBC, mutual fund capital mobilization. What is IBC? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Okay. So during quarter 4 2020, the total number of uh, insolvency was done 4,376. Then next, the volume of fund mobilization and redemption in mutual fund during 2020-21 was subdued as compared to the corresponding period in previous year. The net inflow of rupees 0.7 lakh crore into the mutual fund. So during this period, the mutual fund has seen an inflow of 0.7 lakh crore. The only data that you will have to remember. Then, capital mobilization through public and right issue. Public and right issue. So these are the ways that a company raise fund through the capital market. Okay, during 2021 increased to 1,10,088 crore, registering 42.9% increase over the previous year. This is the thing that we need to remember from this. And with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. With the end of this lecture, we have also completed the FSR part, right? So part 1 is the most important part. Part 2 is the second important. And when it comes to part 3, means this lecture, the most of the things you have already covered in the current affairs, and I would say watch this video only for reference and refer to your current affair notes because things in detail you have read from your current affairs. In FSR, no detail was mentioned, only some important points which I have highlighted in this video. So this you can use this as a reference to your current affair notes, right? So with this, the most talked course in our platform as of now is NABARD Grade A and Grade B, of which this is one of the most economical and best course available in the country for 2499 and 3499 for Grade B, right? So do visit the website, check out this course, and thank you and happy learning. Meet you in the